What's going on, guys? This is James Allen. Today we're going to do a very much requested episode. A lot of people want to know how to deploy a website, a static website on the internet computer. And since I already have a website up called Cityscape, it's currently being hosted on Netlify, and that website really needs some update. I want to create a new splash page for Cityscape, and since Cityscape is going to be an app on an ICP blockchain, I thought, hey, why not create a new splash page, put that splash page on the internet computer, right? So that as I finally get to building the actual mobile app of Cityscape, people could see that, this platform is already on a blockchain. And since I'm going to recreate the splash page and put it on ICP, why not make it a tutorial for you guys who are also interested in putting up your own website on the IC? Now, there's going to be I think 2 parts to this video. 3 parts if you want to count the design part. The first part is the design, where we go over the design of the website, which is pretty straightforward. The second part is where we actually do the code and deploy the project that we build on the IC. I'm not going to go over the HTML and CSS or JavaScript on this video because that's not what this is about. I'm basically going to code it on my own time, and then once I'm done coding the website, I'm going to probably review the code with you guys, and then the real meat is how do I put this HTML, CSS, index, image assets, all this good stuff that makes up the website. How do I put it on the IC, right? How do I put it on a canister and deploy it on the IC? So I'm going to skip the whole part where I code the website. And then the last part is where I cover the whole domain part, right? Because the IC is going to give you a link that looks like a long gibberish. How do you get this link to point to your domain, right? Because you want your domain to point to this canister link that you're going to get once you deploy that website on an IC. So let's start with the design. It shouldn't take long, so I'm going to hop over to Sketch and show you the design. Let's go. All right, guys. This is the basic design layout that I have for the new Cityscape website. You have, a mock-up of the mobile application. This is a user's street ID card, and as you could tell, that user has 89 street cred token. All right, and in the background, you have like a honeycomb pattern in the background. I don't know if you can see it with these lines. It's a honeycomb pattern. Of course, you have the Cityscape logo at the very top left corner. This is a standard amongst websites, as you guys know. And there's this giant call to action button, right, which is reach out, where if you click on it, I think you could send me an email, something like that. Then you have the kind of like the main selling point, bringing next generation social network to the blockchain. And in this case, the blockchain is ICP, right? And then, of course, you can't forget this last item, 100% on chain, because we're going to deploy this website on chain. So as you can see, this is a very simple HTML website. There's nothing fancy about this. We could probably code this in like an hour or 2, probably less. So let's hop on the code editor and get this knocked out. And like I said, we're not going to cover the HTML part of the code because you're not here to learn web development. But once I'm done coding the website, I'll show it to you guys, and we're going to deploy it on the IC. So let's do it. All right, guys. The first thing we need to do to get started is create our directory where we're going to have our project. And let me fire up terminal and do that. Make this bigger so that you gentlemen can see. And I'm going to navigate to my downloads directory. And I'm going to call this project client website, right? This is just an example. So I'm going to make a directory called client website. And now that the directory is done, let's navigate into that directory, right? Let's navigate into it. All right, so we're in there. It's an empty folder. So far, so good. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create another directory called assets. This is where your website assets will be, including the source code. And navigate into the assets directory. and you're going to make another directory for your images. So call that folder images. So you have a images folder, and let's go ahead and create the HTML files that we need. So we're going to do touch HTML, index.html, touch style.css, and touch script.js. So now we pretty much have all the files that we need. If I move up one directory and do a tree command, so as you can tell right now, we're inside the client directory, right? And we have a folder called assets, and within this folder we have another directory called image, like another folder called image, and then we have a index.html file, a script.js file, and a style.css file. So this is where you're gonna do all your coding and basically have all your coding and image asset, all your HTML asset inside this assets folder. And yeah, now within the main directory, right, within the root directory, you're gonna create a dfx.json. So this is going to be your configuration file, dfx.json, right? So, and you're also going to create another file called canisters_ids.json. So if I clear this one more time and do a tree, so as you could tell, we have the assets.json. We have the dfx.json, which is a configuration file, right? We have the canisters id.json, and then we have an assets folder, which has all the website, document, and images that we need. Okay. Now, what do we add inside this dfx.json and canister ids.json? Well, let's load it in Visual Studio Code so we could add the proper document that you need in a configuration file. So if you look at the dfx.json, I should have another project here I could load up. Let's see. Here we go. So if you look at the dfx.json file, you have an object which contains another object called canisters, which has a section called website, and in that you have two properties, one called type, which is of assets, and then the source of those assets is, a folder called assets, which is what this array is indicating. So I'm gonna have this in a description, so you could just go to the description and copy this, but you're gonna write this inside the dfx.json file. So here we go. You've opened up your curly braces. You're gonna create an object called canisters, right? And inside that object, you're gonna create another object called website, colon, and within website, you're going to have the type, which is assets, and you're going to have a source, which is an array of assets, right? Which is basically telling the canister that this is a website. It's telling the Internet Computer Protocol that this is a website, and it has assets, and the assets can be found in this assets folder, which we have right here. And remember, the assets folder has an image bin where you could put all your images, and then your index HTML, script, and styles. So this is it for the configuration file, the dfx.json. That's the configuration file. So that's all you need to put there. And in a canisters.id, you need to put a canister ID. So if you look at this project, which I've already done, you just have an object that has a website, and it gives a canister ID. So let's go ahead and copy this and just remove this canister ID. And now we need a canister ID to insert, right? And how do we do that? Well, you have to create a canister on the Internet Computer. So let's go ahead and browse to the Internet Computer. This is my dashboard on the NNS. So after you log in with your internet identity and stuff like that, this is my Neuron. Let me get out of my Neuron. And if you go to Canister And if you click create canister, right? And I could call this canister the same name as the directory. I could call it client website, right? Because that's what we called it. And if you go to next, you want to power the canister with some ICPs, and you need a minimum of 2 trillion cycles. So let's see what a half of ICP could do. Maybe we could just use a half, and that should be enough. So we have 2.6 trillion cycles inside this this canister, but we could even power it with more, right? We could put like 1 or 2 or even 20, right? But for now, we're just gonna power it with like 0.6. How about 0.6? So we have 3 trillion cycles inside this particular canister. Let's review it. Okay. And let's confirm. Let's create this canister. This may take a while, like they said. And there we go. We have a canister firing up right now. And here we go. So you're gonna open this canister, and you see this canister ID. You're gonna copy it, and that's what you're gonna put right here. You're gonna put the canister ID that you've copied from here into this canisters _.ids.json. So it's forcing me to re-authenticate with my internet identity, which is fine. And there we go. One thing you might want to do too is you might want to add yourself as a controller to this canister. So you could do this by going to your terminal, and you could do this with identity command. You could say dfx identity, who am I? So I'm the default user. So I want to be in control of this. So I'm going to say dfx identity, get principal, I believe is the command, get principal. And I'm going to copy this principal. This is my principal, right? And I'm going to add myself as a controller to this canister I just created. Confirm and send. And there we go. So now I'm one of the controllers. This account, the default account is one of the controllers of this canister. And I've also added the canister ID to this project via the canisters.ids.json, right? So now we're ready to code. So let's hop on the index HTML and code out the website. So this is where you write the code. You could use React, you could use Angular. I'm gonna use vanilla JavaScript, but this is where you bang out your code. We're not gonna focus on that. So I'm just gonna hop and code the website real quick. Now that the website is pretty much done, we're at the exciting part, which is to deploy the finished website, the completed website, to the internet computer. Again, your website should be within a folder called assets, which has all the index, style, and script.js files, along with an images folder that has all the assets, visual assets for your website. And all this should be inside a folder called assets. And then outside that folder, you should have a file called dfx.json, which is your configuration file. And you should also have a file called canister _IDs. I think I made a mistake. I wrote canisters, plural. Remove that S. It should be canister _IDs.json. And those configuration file has information about the canister that you've created on the NNS. And the dfx.json file also has information to the protocol, letting it know that what you're deploying is a website. So everything is complete. All we have to do now is two things. we have to add the controller ID of the canister we created to the project. And that's done very easily by using a dfx wallet command. I believe it's dfx wallet add controller. And we're going to do it right here. And after you add the controller, the canister controller to the project, you could deploy it to the IC using a dfx deploy command. Enough talk. Let's get to the code. And again, I made a little mistake. Remove the S from canisters. It should be canister underscore IDs.json. So let's deploy it right now. All right, guys. Let's load up the project to see what's going on here. So this is the project recreated. You have the assets folder with the image folder that has all your images and the HTML files, the index, the script, the styles. And this is all inside the assets folder, right? And we have the dfx.json, which is a configuration file. And we have the canister ID underscore. So there's a plural here. Let's remove that real quick. Let's remove this. Boom. So it's canister underscore IDs.json, which has the canister ID that you've pulled from the NNS. So this is the NNS right here. I was looking at my neuron. All you have to do is go to your canister. Okay. And it's loading the canister. And copy this canister ID right here and paste it in this website IC object. So far, so good. Now, you have to add the canister controller ID as a controller to the project. So copy the controller number that you see here at the very top. Copy this, right? And go to your terminal. Make sure you're at the correct directory. So I could do a PWD to see that I am inside the client website folder, because remember, that's what we call the folder. Remember, it's in our downloads folder. So this is a client website. This is the assets with the HTML files. And this is the canister ID JSON. So we are at the correct directory. And I believe you're going to do dfx wallet add controller. And then you're going to paste the controller ID. I believe that's the command. Maybe I got it wrong. Let's do dfx wallet add controller. Maybe I got this command wrong. Let's go to the dfx wallet documentation. Okay. So right here. So dfx wallet. Let me see. How did I mess this up? Add controller. I think I need to start dfx for this to work. So let's start dfx in the background. I think it's flag clean, flag background. So let's start a local instance of the replica. And I think once the local of the instance of the replica has started, it should work. So we're going to do dfx wallet. So I had the command right, and just paste the controller ID that you've copied from the canister. So let's press enter. So there we go. You've added the controller ID into that project. And there you go. You see where it says it added this as a controller. So now this project with those HTML files, I could deploy this project using a dfx deploy command. I could do dfx deploy flag network IC. I believe flag no wallet, right? Because you already have a canister. But I'm not going to deploy it because this is already like, there's nothing. I haven't coded anything. The real project that I've coded is in another directory. So let me delete this and take you to the real project. I believe the real project is inside my documents. Let me move up one again. Shit. Yeah, it's inside my documents. And I think it's called CX ICP. And if I load this in Visual Studio Code, This is the real project that I've coded. So let me, so you see the structure is the same. I have a canister ID JSON. I have a dfx JSON. I have my assets folder, and the images are full of images. The HTML is filled out, right? Tons of styles. So if I want to deploy this project, this is the actual project I've coded. I'm not deploying this project to this particular canister with only 3 trillion cycles. I've already deployed it to Sean's canister, which I don't have access to his NNS. So I'm just gonna, let me see, am I in that correct? Yeah, I am in that directory. So I'm just gonna deploy it just to give you guys an idea of what deploying actually look like. I think it's network IC flag no wallet. I could have it wrong. It's, let me look up the command because I mess this up sometimes. I think it's no wallet, but I don't know where. Yeah, so I think there's a dash between no wallet. So I'm gonna do this again. dfx deploy flag network IC flag no dash wallet, and there we go. It's building, and once you know it's done, it's gonna give you a hyperlink, which I'm gonna copy from this terminal and paste to show you that it works. So right now it's just deploying it. And by the way, you would use the same command to update your website, right? So if I change the code, so here goes the link. Let me copy the link. Anyway, if I change the code here, I could do the same command, dfx deploy network IC flag no wallet, and all the updated code would go to the canister and I would see the update. So let's paste that link that it gave us. And as you could tell, it's working just fine. So congratulations, you've deployed something to the internet computer. I hope this tutorial was useful. And yeah, I'll see you in the outro. So that's it for part 1 of this episode. I hope it was easy and pretty intuitive. If you have any questions, be sure to leave it in the comments section and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Like I said, I'm going to leave the format that you need for the canister ID.json in a format that you need for the dfx.json in the description. So you could just copy and paste it in your respective files, and you could just replace it with the canister ID that you need, so that, you know, I'm just going to do that to help you out. If you have any questions, like I said, leave it in the comment section. And of course, you're welcome to join my Motoko Developer Study Group. It's at $30 a month. We meet once a week and we learn Motoko together. I promise you're going to love it. And if you find all this stuff way too complicated for you and you're not interested in being a developer whatsoever, you could also message me and pay me to build a website for you and throw it on the IC. Be sure to reach out on social media. You could hit me up on Discord at SenQuane0 or Instagram at JamesAllen0. Let me know if you're reaching out to either join my study group. Like I said, it's $30 a month for this one. We meet once a week. Or if you want me to build a website on an IC for you, let me know which one when you do reach out to me on either socials. In the next episode, we're going to cover how to now point that canister or point your domain to that canister so that, you know, people don't have to remember strange links that the internet computer gives you. After all, you're going to have a domain either on GoDaddy or some sort of domain registrar. That's what you want to use for your website. How do you get that domain to point to the internet computer? That's going to be the next episode, and I know a lot of you guys are probably more eager for this one. Look out for that. It's going to take me a little bit of a while, but in the meantime, stay chill, guys. You know what to do. Don't forget to press that like button and support me on Patreon. I will see you next time.